suits for each record, but once we're touring a record, we stick to the same suit.
We did have a sense of style all the way from the beginning, but we didn't come, you know, I don't think we looked this good back then. But we did know that we wanted certain type of stuff, and we did know that we wanted certain type of clothes. And we used to dress up when we played. I mean, we wore some type of suits or something. But it's maybe around 1996 or something, we got around to wearing the black and white color scheme.
We always liked bands that looked a certain way, you know, that you can always see from a mile away that it was either Kraftwerk, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, whatever. That's something we grew up loving, I guess, about bands that went the extra mile, you know.
They have an identifiable style.
Yeah.
Most bands are so boring to look at that we didn't want to be. That's the deadliest sin of all if you're in a rock and roll band. If it's boring, you're doing something wrong. Yeah, everything wrong. We just come from a school that thinks that performing is an art in itself, and it has to be something larger than life and more interesting than, you know, mundane life. And that's so boring about going to see a show and the people on stage looking exactly like the audience and looking exactly like they would if you came around to their house at 2 in the afternoon.
Well, the point is sort of to make an ordinary Monday, to make the audience feel like it's their best ever Friday night, you know. And you're supposed to dress up when there's a party, and I believe there's a party when we roll into town.
The black and white album was chosen by our guitar player Vigilante when he saw the cover photo, because it was black and white. It really was that simple. But then we've come up with a bunch of other explanations for it, because people keep asking us, and sometimes we're too bored to say the same thing. So no, it has to do with like the simplicity, or the idea of the band is that it's supposed to be very minimal and simplistic, because it's, you know, therefore not saying it's simple to make it. It's harder to make something very simple and good than to make something with, if you're cooking food and you only use 2 ingredients, in order to make that taste good, you really have to do it right. Whereas if you put 15 ingredients, it doesn't matter what they are, pretty much. It's just going to taste like a big mash of anything. So, I mean, we like that about it. We were always wearing black and white too, and we were always fascinated by like the stark contrast.
This record was pretty much a test in a way. Like, we wanted to record in a different way than we recorded previously, and that pretty much makes up for the whole record. I mean, we recorded with different producers.
It took 8 studios and, I don't know, 15 producers, and it was a lot of hassling around to make it. But it was a lot of fun and educational hassling around.
You know, going into the same studio again with the same guy would have been like shooting yourself in the foot.
We didn't have a problem sounding like the Hives, and it almost became a problem that we were sounding too much like the Hives, and we wanted to, you know, the problem was to sound like something else, or to at least to get something new in. I mean, every time we stood in the rehearsal space and rehearsed, it sounded exactly like us, like all the time.
We wrote a lot of it kind of in the studio, whereas before we would always write the record first and then go into the studio. So we wrote the record during a long time. So the states we were in, I guess, were drunk and sober, tired and newly awake, fresh as a daisy. There were all kinds of things.
And we wanted to have, you know, new ideas and new influences in it. I mean, maybe sounding more like the music that we were inspired by.
It was influenced by pretty much everything on earth. We wanted it to sound really luxurious and big. We never did a record that sounded big and expensive and luxurious before.